In order for us to change a paradigm, it's important for us to understand what our paradigms are, decide whether we want to change them, and do the work of improving our behavior. But what if we want to help someone else? How do we help others become better? Ultimately, it is their decision, but maybe it starts with us being empathetic to their situation, acknowledging that what they believe is real, and have solutions-based conversations. Engage in activities focused on positive change. In this episode, I speak with Brandon Hudson, who does just this through the lens of an entrepreneur. He is the founding executive director of Simple Intervention LLC, franchise owner of Marco's Pizza, minority partner of Grab Vision Group, and CEO of Upside to Youth Development, as well as the owner and president of Hudson Enterprise LLC. This is McKenna. So at what point did you decide that you even wanted to do entrepreneurship?
Well, like I've always been an entrepreneur.
Okay, so take me all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah. So my mom told me stories about when I was young, she would buy school supplies for us for the whole year because there's 5 of us. So she would buy these school supplies in bulk at like Sam's Club or Costco and things like that. And she said, and I faintly remember this when I was in first grade. She come home and supplies are missing. She like, yo, what's going on? And she found out from the teachers that I was selling the pencils in schools because we used to play pencil pop, right?
Right.
And for whatever reason, I had these pencils that were stronger than the rest of them, so they wanted them from me. So I used to sell them for a quarter or 50 cents. And she found a stash of money, and I was like, "Well, Mom, So, I kind of attribute entrepreneurship to her. Or to my parents, because once they seen that, then they signed me up for like Chicago Urban League, Junior Achievement, and these little, business ventures, to kind of learn how to be an entrepreneur. But then when I came to college, I came on a full scholarship through agriculture because my high school was an ag school. So I did, ag business, ag economics. I always had the mindset, but I just wanted to make money. It all started from, wanting a better lifestyle than my parents had, and not necessarily understanding what makes the lifestyle what it does. Not necessarily money, but as a kid, you thinking, I want the Mercedes Benz, and I want, the houses and the stuff. You know what I mean? And not understanding that that's not necessarily what attributes to having a good lifestyle. Obviously, I had to learn that later on in life. It was more or less my parents kind of instilling in me that, I used to always say like, I want to be a millionaire. I'm gonna buy my mom a house and this, that, and the other, right?
Right.
So, now I'm more paying attention. Now I have 3 kids. I got 1 on the way.
Oh, right? Congratulations.
Yeah, I got a tribe over here. So, to me right now it's more about legacy, leaving things to my children and teaching them, and kind of upping the ante to what my parents did for me. And I always say, success is, a lot of it's attributed to exposure, right? When you're growing up and you're just not around certain things, you just it's a dream, right?
Right.
So for me, it's exposing my kids. And I got this story about my son.
Okay.
He goes to a private school, right? And so one of the top schools in the country, obviously one of the top schools in Virginia, had to apply. It's like one of these day schools, right?
Right.
So he's around different kind of kids. And so there's this kid, was like, yeah, we want to go out to a college game. I said, okay, cool. Where? The game is in Duke or North Carolina, and the father's like, well, we'll be back tonight. And I'm like, okay, that's a 4.5 hour drive. The game starts at 7. What you mean you back tonight?
Right.
You know, oh, no, I'm just taking my private jet.
Oh, okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The reason I bring it up is kind of like, yo, the stuff that my son is getting exposed to,
right,
is far like it's stuff that I kind of like seen on TV. I didn't think that kind of stuff was, you know what I mean, like accessible.
Yeah. Right.
And so, you know, now for me right now is me and my wife. We're just trying to manage our kids. The way they think is totally different. They think that, okay, I broke my iPad, I just buy another one. You know what I mean? Like it's just no concept. Yeah, it's no concept of money or no concept of value. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, hey, Dad, you know, I want a swimming pool. Why don't you just buy one and put it out back? Like the conversations we have is kind of like, I'm just like, okay,
right.
son.
It's like, a different norm.
We have to reevaluate. Yeah, mm-hmm. We have to reevaluate. Should we have moved into this neighborhood? Should we have bought this house? Did we expose them to too much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now we try to do things and yeah. So just, you know, like I said, I'm just trying to teach my children things that translates in any environment. Mm-hmm. Whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, whether you're rich, wealthy, you know, super rich or whatever, mm-hmm. that things that the tools that you're going to need, right? Mm-hmm. Compassion, love, kindness, respect, integrity, you know, those kind of things that's going to translate in any environment. You know, that's what we're trying to teach them, but also giving them, exposing them to different parts of the world, you know, yeah. Cultures, different environments, so that they have no limit to what they feel like they can achieve. You mm-hmm. know, and obviously they're young enough right now where race doesn't play into it, but then we're gonna have to address that, right? Mm-hmm.
But do you though?
Yeah, I definitely do, but I'm not. I want our kids to be what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's an innocence right now, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think as a society, we can learn a lot from children. Like children, they don't judge, right?
Yeah.
He goes and he wants to play with you because you want to play. It doesn't matter what your economic status is, what your race is, what your background, what your religion. None of that matters. You mm-hmm. want to play, I want to play, let's play. Mm-hmm. And so there's an innocence about it. But, you know, he's seeing the differences, right? Like, mm-hmm. yeah, school, all the girls want to touch my hair, Daddy. Why do they want to touch my hair? Because they want to feel, you know what I mean? So we're starting to, okay, you know, we have to kind of address this, you know.
Got it.
You know, and letting him know, like, okay, what's not okay. And my son, he's 8, and I have a daughter that's 5 and another daughter that's 2. Mm-hmm. So specifically him, you know, being a young Black man,
right?
You know, how to navigate through, you know, all of this, and understanding what it means to be African American and some of the disadvantages, no matter what your economic status is. You know what I mean? You know, even now I feel the need to have to prove myself, you know, and there's a psychology behind it, right? That's why we buy certain cars. You know, we have to be seen. You know, right. We have to be, you know, I walk into a room, you know, I want to, okay, you know, me and Damien, we went to go look at look at cars. Me and him, we love cars, you know. Mm-hmm. So we went to this dealership in Charlotte one time, and we were looking at exotic cars. I didn't necessarily have the intention of buying one. I can, but I just, you know,
you just want to look, right?
Sir, you can't touch that. You know, you know, you can't look at that. I said, okay. So we came back a couple of days. And then now I come back, I dress different, put my Rolex on, drive the car, drive a different, a higher end car, totally different response, Oh, here it is. Here's the keys. Take it. Take it. And I'm looking like, you don't even remember me. You know
I'm
what I mean?
the same guy you told me not to touch.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's just having to deal with that and having a constant need to prove yourself. And it's just,
Well, let me ask you this. So for your children and wanting to kind of make sure that they are keeping an open mind and not having a certain narrative shape how they are going to approach the world, so to speak, do you think having that conversation about race will kind of retard that? I mean, I get the fact that at some point you still kind of have to let them know that they're Black, but you know what I mean? But does it kind of also defeat the purpose?
So I have this thing like where I want to, with children, they don't do what you say, they do what you do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more than having the conversations, which is obviously important. Mm-hmm. To me, it's more important to lead by example. So when I'm with Daddy, I see how he handles things. Mm-hmm. Is he gonna fly off the handle when he's disrespected? Is he, how are you gonna handle it? You know what mm-hmm. I mean? So, and it's amazing because they sit back and they watch and observe. That's why it's important that you are there and you are present. You know what I mean? And you don't replace your being there and being present with money and things, and you know what I mean. And so, me and my wife, we just try the way that we interact with each other, the way that we handle ourselves in situations or, the neighborhood that we're in. And, I think that that's just as important. So right now, I'm more focusing on that, just leading by example. And we've had conversations, we had to have them. Mm-hmm. But what I don't want is my son using his Blackness as an excuse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm kind of leery of that because I feel like if I had that conversation too early, well, they didn't give me that because of, no, understanding that you got to work hard, but you have to work twice as hard. Mm-hmm. But it's instilling those values, like I said before, and instilling that motor. And obviously, we got to pull the motor from somewhere different. I mean, my motor was, my dad was a pastor, and my mom, she worked. Let me see, she worked up until maybe I was like 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. I went to high school. She worked from home. I mean, she didn't work from home. She stayed at home and raised us up. And we all went to college, right? Mm-hmm. There's 5 of us. We all went to college. We all graduated from college, and we did this off of a, $50,000-$60,000 salary, whatever it was. So very like middle class. And so the values that my kids or the things that they're exposed to is different, right? And so I can't do some of the things that my motor was. Man, my dad drives a minivan. I promise I'm never driving a minivan. You know what I mean?
Right.
We live in this 3-bedroom house. All 3 girls in one room, me and my brother in another room, my parents in another room, 1.5 bath. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, nah, man, everybody's gonna have a bath. So my motor was being able to do more financially for my family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whatever that looked at. You know what I mean? Out of college, my goal was like, man, I want to make $100 a day. If I can make $100 a day, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I just had this drive to be able to provide a better lifestyle. But like I said, as I got older, I realized that the lifestyle is more attributed to things that are not tangible. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Things that are, yes, a big nice house and having your own room and bathroom. That's cool. But I'm looking at things like, man, we were close. And I learned certain skill sets, like how to negotiate, how to compromise. Okay, it's only one TV in the family room. Or, you watch this time, you know what I mean?
Right.
If everybody got their own iPad, like, so those are some soft skills that I was, was able to learn.
It was cool from that, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, go ahead.
Yeah, so with it's different. You know what I mean? We're navigating through this parenthood and try to figure out, okay, how do we use some of those skills while providing a better lifestyle, for our children. And I can't say that we got it all figured out. It's something we're still navigating through.
But it's a learning process. But it looks like you're doing pretty good though. Because having that mindset about how you want the path that you want your children to follow, I think is phenomenal. So my question is for you, and you kind of touched on a little bit, is could you tell me a little more about that journey from selling the pencils in elementary school to now being an entrepreneur and having several businesses under your belt at this point?
So, and it's not a real complicated story. I actually, the truth of the matter is, I got out of school. Once I graduated, obviously with a degree in agriculture, I always had this thing that I could talk my way into any job. Like I might not necessarily know what the job is, but I had this confidence about myself. And so I was able to land a job as an economist and I graduated when I was 20 years old, right? As an economist for Butler County, USDA. That's a big deal, you know what I mean? Yeah. I had a vehicle, office, computer, the whole
nine. Right out of college.
And right out of college and had no clue about the job. No clue. And so I'm sitting up there like, oh my goodness, so scared. Like, how did I do this? What did I do? I'm setting myself up. I'm feeling inadequate. Right. So I'm the only African-American in there and the youngest, right? And I'm talking to these farmers. They're asking me questions and I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the time, they had Google, but so now I'm finding myself going back home trying to read because I'm gonna get exposed and I'm gonna get fired because I don't necessarily know exactly what this job entails.
Yeah.
But short of that, I went to. So everybody's still in school. All my boys, frat brothers, they're still in school. So they're calling me and I'm trying to be a professional.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, man, we just came from this party and this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting up here in a job that I have no clue what to do. I'm making the money, and I'm like, I wasn't feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
So where I was literally 6 hours from Chicago and 6 hours from Virginia. So I would literally every weekend drive to this intersection to decide whether I'm going this way to Chicago or this way to Virginia and make it a spur of the moment. And every weekend I was either in Chicago with, my family there or in Virginia partying up with my boys. I think there was still a level of immaturity that I had back then. And so I never forget, man, this is kind of a long drawn out story, but I never forget one party that one weekend, and I had so much fun. And I was like, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm not going back. I'm not going back to work. I'm calling it. I'm quitting. You know what I mean? I'm done. I was staying on, Rich's couch. And so our dean, Derek, he calls it, he said, son. He said, yo, what are you doing? You a grown man, you're a professional, you got bills and this and the other. Right. Go back and he literally had to talk me back into getting in my car and driving back to my professional job, right?
Right.
And so I did that, but like this being unfulfilled, I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm not having fun, and you think life is about fun coming from that HBCU party,
exactly,
friendships and all my, even had a girlfriend down at the time, like, what am I doing? So, I mean, Jennings bought me some time, but eventually I ended up quitting.
Wow.
A great job to come back down to Virginia, to sleep on Rich's couch, to have fun. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so I look at it now like, yo, what was I thinking? But I think it was God's plan, God's design.